All right, let's jump right into this explainer and explore the body's ultimate biological engine. What we're looking at today is a true marvel of bioengineering. I mean, we're talking about an organ operating right under the hood of your anatomy with a level of precision that, frankly, puts our most advanced human factories to shame. As we'll see through these scientific animations, it's a beautifully complex machine. Here's the blueprint for our tour today. We're going to hit 5 main stops. First, the ultimate chemical factory. Second, the body's storage vault. Third, the master of metabolism. Fourth, detox, bile, and hormones. And finally, number 5, life without your liver. So, Section 1, the ultimate chemical factory, an overview. Let's start our tour right on the main factory floor to really grasp the sheer scale of the body's largest internal organ. You see, this isn't just a single-purpose organ. It acts as a highly advanced storage center, a chemical factory, and a metabolic powerhouse, all happening at once. Just think about the sheer computational and chemical power required to run hundreds of metabolic reactions concurrently without your system just crashing. It's mind-blowing. Moving right along to Section 2, the body's storage vault, hoarding for survival. This is the department where the liver literally locks away essential nutrients until you hit a crisis. Picture this. You've just finished a huge meal. What happens? Well, through a fascinating process called glycogenesis, the liver converts all that excess glucose into glycogen. Think of glycogen as this highly secure, densely packed form of carbohydrate. It's literally locked away in the vault, just waiting for the exact moment your energy reserves take a dive. But hey, what goes in has to come out, right? That brings us to glycogenolysis. This is the exact opposite mechanism, breaking down that stored glycogen back into glucose. By releasing it into the bloodstream during a fast or even just between meals, your liver actively prevents low blood sugar. It's literally the reason you have a steady supply of energy to your brain and muscles so you don't just pass out before lunch. Now, the vault is hoarding way more than just carbs. It's a deep storage facility for long-term vitamin storage. We're talking vitamin A for your vision, skin, and immunity, vitamin D for calcium absorption in bones, vitamin E to protect your cells, vitamin K for blood clotting, and vitamin B12 for red blood cells and nerve function. The liver is so highly optimized, it can actually hold on to these for months, sometimes even years. And it doesn't stop there. It also maintains vital mineral and blood reserves. It safely stores iron as ferritin to make hemoglobin and holds on to copper for enzyme reactions. But get this, it also acts as an emergency blood reservoir. If you suffer severe blood loss, the liver instantly dumps its stored blood into circulation to keep your blood pressure up. Talk about an incredible built-in trauma response system. All right, Section 3, the master of metabolism, or as I like to call it, the reactor. This is where the heavy lifting of processing carbs, proteins, and fats actually happens. So what happens when that vault is completely empty of glycogen? Well, the liver doesn't just give up. It initiates gluconeogenesis. During prolonged fasting, it literally manufactures brand new glucose from scratch using amino acids, glycerol, and lactate. It's scavenging whatever it can find to keep your blood glucose in a normal, survivable range, even if you haven't eaten for days. It's constantly shifting operations to keep you balanced. Look at it this way: after a meal versus during fasting. On one side, right after you eat, glycogenesis steps in to store the excess glucose. On the other side, when you're fasting, glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis kick in to release and create glucose. Your liver is essentially your body's automated internal fuel economist. And managing toxic protein waste is a massive part of the job. Let's look at this step-by-step hazard containment protocol. First, deamination removes the amino group from amino acids so they can be used for energy, but this produces highly toxic ammonia. So the liver acts instantly, converting that ammonia into a much safer compound called urea. Finally, that urea is carried off to the kidneys and excreted in urine. It's an unbelievably efficient chemical assembly line. Now, while it's breaking down proteins, it's also handling plasma protein synthesis. It manufactures albumin, which is absolutely critical for maintaining your blood's osmotic pressure, basically keeping fluid inside your blood vessels where it belongs. Plus, it creates fibrinogen and prothrombin, which are both essential for blood clotting so you don't bleed out from a tiny scrape. It's also the absolute central hub for fat metabolism functions. For energy and structure, it breaks down fatty acids, produces cholesterol, and synthesizes phospholipids. For transportation, it produces lipoproteins to shuttle fat safely through your blood. And for storage and fasting, it converts excess carbs and proteins into fat and produces ketone bodies when you're fasting. It really does do it all. Which brings us to Section 4, Detox, Bile, and Hormones, aka the cleanup crew. This department handles filtration, digestion support, and keeping chemical messengers in check. Think of your liver as the ultimate biological security checkpoint for detoxification targets. It aggressively intercepts alcohol, pharmaceutical drugs, environmental chemicals, and internal toxins. It identifies these threats and chemically converts them into less harmful compounds that your body can safely eliminate. At the exact same time, it's managing bile production. The liver produces bile to help digest fats and aid in the absorption of those fat-soluble vitamins we mentioned earlier in the vault, A, D, E, and K. Bile essentially acts like a biological detergent, breaking down dietary fats into smaller droplets so your body can actually use them. And to keep your entire system from going haywire, it handles hormone metabolism and balance. The liver actively breaks down and removes excess levels of powerful hormones like insulin, estrogen, cortisol, and thyroid hormones. Without this cleanup crew clearing out the excess, your endocrine system would literally spiral out of control. Okay, we've seen this incredible factory operating at peak efficiency, but that leads us to Section 5, Life Without Your Liver, or Total System Failure. Without the liver, well, things go bad very quickly. Blood glucose cannot be regulated, toxic substances like ammonia accumulate rapidly, protein and fat metabolism would be massively impaired, and fat digestion would become incredibly difficult. Your vitamin and mineral storage would be reduced, and because of the lack of fibrinogen and prothrombin, your blood clotting would be severely affected. It is an immediate, catastrophic, system-wide failure. So, with hundreds of essential functions running simultaneously, could human technology ever replicate the ultimate biological engine? Looking at its unparalleled role as a deep storage center, hazard cleanup crew, and master chemical factory, will we ever be able to artificially recreate the sheer concentrated genius? Or will the human liver forever remain unmatched? Something to think about.